Good morning, Mr. Controller. We'll recognize you first.
I appreciate y'all giving me a chair today. Good morning, Mayor, honorable members of council, staff. I'm here today to present the monthly financial report for the month of January 2026. The Controller's Office is projecting an ending fund balance of $336 million, or 13.2% of expenditures, less debt service, and pay-as-you-go for fiscal year 2026. This is $17.5 million lower than a projection of the Finance Department, with the difference being due to a lower revenue projection than Finance. Based on our current projections, the fund balance will be approximately $144.8 million above the city's target of holding 7.5% of total expenditures, excluding debt service and pay-as-you-go in reserve. Our revenue and expenditure projection remains unchanged from the December 2025 report. For our enterprise funds, within aviation, non-operating revenues increased by $20.2 million due to land sales, and operating transfers to the Airport Improvement Fund increased by $20.2 million. We're projecting no changes from the previous month's amounts in the combined utility system, convention and entertainment operating funds, the stormwater funds, or the dedicated drainage and street renewal funds. For our commercial paper and bonds, the city's practice has been to maintain no more than 20% of the total outstanding debt for each type of debt in a variable rate structure, which is in line with rating agency guidance of 25%. From time to time, the city's enterprise credits have exceeded this threshold on an interim basis as they've undertaken large capital improvement projects or major expansions. As of January 31st, 2026, the ratio of unhedged variable rate debt for convention and entertainment was 47.98% due to the ongoing George R. Brown expansion. As you all know, our Finance Department and the Controller's Office are up in New York right now pricing bonds for that project. And so once that comes through, you should see this number go down substantially. And, you know, there is quite a bit of turmoil in the markets right now, given the ongoings in the Middle East. And so we're going to see, you know, how this pricing goes. But the weekend's events certainly have changed, you know, how Wall Street is operating right now. The ratio of unhedged variable rate debt for each other type of outstanding debt remain well below the 20% threshold. Mayor and council, as you know, Texans went to the polls yesterday for our primary elections. At a moment when our democracy is more deeply under threat than at any other point in my life, every single ballot cast yesterday and throughout the early voting period was an act of belief. So let me start with this. Thank you to the Houstonians who showed up, those who waited in line, who did your homework, who refused to sit this one out. Democracy is not a spectator sport. It only works when we come together and make it work. And to every candidate who stepped forward, who put your name on the ballot, who organized your neighbors, who knocked doors in the heat and in the cold, thank you. Running for office is not glamorous. It's long nights, it's tough questions, it's the willingness to be judged in public, and win or lose, it takes courage to raise your hand and say that you're ready to serve. And so for all those who ran in yesterday's elections, we thank you. We know that campaigns can be divisive, but participation strengthens our community. And in a time when too many people are trying to silence us and shrink the number of seats that are available at the table, Houston keeps showing up. And so we're grateful for that. I want to wish you all a happy Women's History Month. And I certainly want to acknowledge the incredible women around this horseshoe that lead this city every day. You want me to repeat that, Councilmember Thomas? Without you, Houston would not be as great as it is, and I'm honored to lead alongside every single one of you. Women's History Month comes on the heels of Black History Month, and I want to thank all of you, I think nearly all of you, who joined the Controller's Office in celebrating 100 years of intentional remembrance of a critical piece of American history and honoring Black leaders who are making a difference across the Houston community. It was a powerful moment that exemplified Houston's diversity and commitment to the people and stories that shape our city. On March 17th, we'll be hosting our 10th annual Houston Investor Conference. The original October date was impacted due to the labor strikes at the Hilton Americas. And now that those have been successfully resolved, we are excited to be moving forward on March 17th. Some of you are joining us as speakers, and we're very grateful for that. But all of you are invited to attend, and we'd love to have you be there. As y'all know, the Houston Investor Conference is the premier event that brings together investors, industry leaders, and regional power players to discuss the financial future of Houston, so please come out. This past weekend, our office joined an organization called Clean the Block, along with the Harris County DA's office and over 150 volunteers to bring beauty to an often ignored area in Sunnyside. It was an awesome example of what Houstonians can do when they put words into action and get involved directly in driving the change that they want to see. Council members Evans Shabazz, as well as Council member Salinas, were also there getting their hands dirty to clean up this neighborhood that was very much in need. And so it was great to have you out there. The Clean the Block crew is awesome. They don't just do this work on Saturdays. They're out there every single day of the week doing what they can. It's my understanding that right now they could use a truck to haul off the trash that they pick up every morning. Right now they're using their personal vehicles and their small personal vehicles, and that's limiting the impact that they can have. We know that illegal dumping remains a major issue across the city of Houston, and while the city is working to address that issue, we should support leaders like Andrew Brever and the Clean the Block crew. Mayor, I know that you've made a truck available to a group on the north side for a similar endeavor, and so if at all possible, we should try to provide that support to this group as well. Again, this group is showing up for Sunnyside and South Park and for all of Houston, and we should support them if we can. Mayor and Council, yesterday, Deputy City Controller Will Jones came to the BFA committee and released a new insight report about our electricity exposure and what it means for our budget going forward. This year, this fiscal year, the city is projected to reach $131 million in electricity costs, an increase of more than 40% from last year. This isn't a routine fluctuation. This is a material and substantial shift in our cost structure that's going to stick moving forward. Many of the rising costs that Houstonians are seeing, and certainly here at the City of Houston, are directly associated with reforms that were made in the aftermath of Winter Storm Uri. During that February 2021 event, there were more than 200 Texans that lost their lives due to the antiquated Texas grid. And in that moment, we came within minutes of a total collapse, and we're lucky that we avoided it. That tragedy prompted some substantial changes to the state's electricity market, and the costs associated with those reforms were passed down directly to customers, including the City of Houston. Today, those structural changes are showing up in our operating budget. It's important to recognize that roughly half of the city's electricity costs are entirely outside of operational control. They're driven by transmission charges, regulatory mandates, and market-based reliability mechanisms. And so even with conservation efforts, significant portions of those costs remain fixed and will remain at those elevated levels. The city has currently utilized 86% of the original $640 million contract for spending capacity that it has with Reliant. And at projected spending levels, the remaining contract capacity may not be enough to fully cover our costs through the end of the contract in fiscal year 2027. And so that's something for Council to pay attention to. I want to be clear here. The bad guy here isn't anyone at the City of Houston, and it's not NRG or Reliant who provide us with electricity. The system that Governor Abbott and the state legislature allowed to be in place that holds no one accountable, and when disaster strikes, passes those risks and those failures and those costs down to customers, including our residents and including us here at the City of Houston, that is the problem. Nevertheless, that problem isn't going away. Prices appear to remain elevated for years to come. So as we prepare for the next fiscal year and potentially a new supply contract beyond fiscal year 2027, we have to evaluate that risk, look towards long-term price stability, and of course, prioritize overall value for Houston taxpayers. Thank you so much, and that concludes my report.
Councilmember Kamen, I guess we can digress. You want to wait after Paul, or would you like to address the controller?
I was going to speak to the controller, but if someone else is
No. Our finance department's going to give a...
I'll hold my comments. Thank you, sir.
Congratulations. It's tough. Ms. Paula.
Good morning, Mayor, Council Member. This is 7+5 financial report for the period ending January 31st, 2026. Fiscal year 2026 projections are based on 7 months of actual results and 5 months of projection. For general fund, our revenue projection is $41.9 million lower than the adopted budget and remain unchanged from prior month. For the sales tax receipts for the month of December were $88.1 million. To meet the current estimate of $902.3 million, the remaining period would need to come in 8.68% below prior year. For our expenditure projection is $9.5 million higher than the adopted budget and remain unchanged from prior month. We are currently projecting the ending fund balance of $353.5 million, which remain unchanged from prior month, and 13.9% of estimated expenditure less debt service and paygo. The fund balance is $162.3 million above the targeted 7.5% of expenditures excluding debt service and paygo. We agree with controller for aviation projection change on that. And as we had received the question for the BFA yesterday, on page 4 for the FY26 adopted budget of $387 million, that fund balance is based on the fund balance at that time at the adopted budget. So when the annual comprehensive financial report complete for FY25, the fund balance had increased to $100 million, approximately $100 million, pretty much mainly increase in the revenue, about $53 million for property tax, sales tax, and also we have some saving, about 40-something million in the expenditure side. That what driving the increase on the fund balance currently that we have right now. So thank you very much. That's conclude my report.
Thank you, Paula. Good job. Councilor McCabe.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning to everyone. I was going to bring this up under item 7, which has to do with the contract that we're doing for ICE. ICE being like physical ICE, not ICE, Federal Immigration Enforcement.
The cold ice.
Cold ICE to keep people cool in the midst of disasters. And Controller, I really appreciate your remarks in terms of the cost of electricity and energy that we are incurring at the City of Houston directly as a result of previous generational failures of our grid. And what I was going to speak on related to the fact that we have to now contract for ICE. There's additional costs every which way, Mayor, whether it's backup generators that cost hundreds of millions of dollars, not only for public safety facilities, but for community centers of last resort, whether it's ICE, now electricity. We are continuing to have to foot the bill, and residents are continuing to have to foot the bill for an unreliable grid and an unreliable and unsustainable situation. So I wanted to speak to it now since it's germane to what you're discussing in terms of city costs, but we literally are having items on agenda that we are having to pay for to keep people alive and safe because the power's going to go out. And that's a problem. It's not okay. But it's also not on solely the City of Houston to address that issue. So I want to lift it up and thank you for bringing a spotlight to that cost because that's a staggering number.
Absolutely.
That's all. Thank you. Do you have a motion,
Yes,
Councilman Alcorn?
I move to accept the monthly financial report dated January 31st, 2026.
Very
Second,
good.
Castillo.
Motion made and second. All in favor say yes. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's move to appointments.